properties. So there was a question which was raised to you. Okay. So it says LPG cylinders have liquefied gas that works on principle of similar isotherms. What you see on screen are isotherms for water. Okay. For cooking purpose, when we open regulator valve, it flows out in a gaseous form and flows almost at constant rate till all of it is consumed. Explain working of LPG cylinder using the isotherm shown. Okay. You may assume that initially you are at the leftmost point of the horizontal section. When I say horizontal section, uh, I mean this horizontal section here, or this horizontal section. Uh, so who would explain it to me? Chalo. Let me see who are there sitting there. भंडारी भाई है कि नहीं?
हाँ सर।
हाँ हाँ, चलो एक्सप्लेन करो. सोचा है ना तुमने? होमवर्क उस दिन भी दिया था, असाइनमेंट में भी भेजा है आपको.
हाँ सर। एक सर मैंने किया नहीं एक्चुअली होमवर्क, तो शायद मुझे इतना पता नहीं है।
हाँ, किया नहीं मतलब पढ़ाई नहीं किया है, ऐसे ही टाइम पास कर रहे हो.
अरे
अच्छा. Who else can explain it? Anybody who can volunteer on his own? Huh? The Nasik girl, Lorita.
Hello.
Yes, Lorita, can you explain this question?
So this question was very nice. I have for some questions where I haven't written. That's
हाँ,
why
but
I
ऐसा नहीं चलता है ना. Every time whatever is taught next class, you should be ready with what was taught in the previous class. नहीं तो आगे फिर आपको क्या समझ में आने वाला है? All right. Who else can do that? Harshdeep,
Yes, sir.
बताइए.
Sir, sir, actually the LPG, sir, it is liquid petroleum gas. So means it is always in gaseous form. But when it is filled inside the cylinder, it is pressurized in such a way. So as you can see the curve, mixture of liquid and vapor means if you put more and more pressure on the gas gets liquefied. So uh, it is in liquefied form inside the cylinder. So
Correct.
but sir, when you put the regulator on the gas cylinder, the because we have opened a particular area, so the liquid it will start escaping, and hence it will turn into a gaseous form. Uh, then there comes vapor phase because the pressure is reduced, because pressure inside was more than the pressure outside. So to equalize that, uh, as you can see this curve, the vapor phase, it will try to just expand. So the volume will increase, but the pressure is going to reduce. So it will be in the gaseous phase, the vapor phase. As you can see the vapor phase, the written over there. Then the gas escape
Uh,
from the cylinder.
हाँ, so, अगर आपने वो ट्रांसपेरेंट सिगरेट लाइटर देखा हो, you
Yes,
can
sir.
see that part of it is liquid and the part of it is in the gaseous state.
Yes, sir.
Or whenever you release pressure, you try to release the pressure, so pressure should drop. But let's
Yes,
say
sir.
you are starting somewhere on the leftmost point of this straight line section here.
Yes,
So
sir.
when you try to release pressure, some gas comes out. Okay, thereby it should reduce the pressure. But instead of reducing, what happens is every time some gas escapes from the cylinder, some
Yes,
of
sir.
the liquid gets converted into gas. So pressure inside is maintained. Every time some gas flows out, liquid gets converted into gas, pressure is maintained. So pressure is all the way maintained throughout till all of it is converted to gas, which means till you exhaust all of the liquid, pressure is constant, the flow is constant. In fact, if you have used cooking gas at home, then you know that when you exhaust all of the liquid, then the flame starts flickering.
Yes, sir.
It becomes dimmer, and then you know that okay, now I've exhausted the gas. It's
Yes, sir.
just
Yes,
that you switch it off for a while, the gas will again come and accumulate near your regulator. So if you open it, then the gas will flow for some time at a good rate, because gas being lighter, it will try to accumulate near the regulator. But initially, you will have a problem once. But that happens, you know you are going to exhaust it very soon. Uh, so that's the situation here.
yes, sir. Understood.
So that's the explanation.
और आइसोटर्म
Uh,
कंडीशन बताया नहीं सर।
Haji?
आइसोटर्म सर, आइसोटर्म भी रीजन है ना उसका सर।
नहीं नहीं, आइसोथर्म मतलब कांस्टेंट टेम्परेचर कर्व्स।
कांस्टेंट टेम्परेचर, हाँ सर।
तो ये जो आप कर्व देख रहे हैं वो सब एक ही पर्टिकुलर टेम्परेचर के लिए एक कर्व है। ओके, द लोअर कर्व इज फॉर द लोअर टेम्परेचर, हायर कर्व फॉर द हायर टेम्परेचर रीजन. So when you are talking about LPG, you are operating in a region where there is a straight line portion. So you're at room temperature, you are at one of the straight line portion, and that's where you are working. So what it says is that the horizontal portion represents a mixture of liquid and vapor phase. This is the state of LPG inside the cylinder. As we open the regulator, some gas escapes, and that could reduce pressure. Simultaneously, some liquid evaporates and tries to maintain the pressure. So state point on the horizontal portion shifts to the right, slowly, slowly. This continues till all of the LPG gets converted to gas. Okay, then you are at the rightmost point. Now, if you try to allow gas to come out, expand further, then the pressure will start dropping, because now there is no liquid, so pressure maintenance is not possible. Let's see the next one. Now we are at the phase diagram. Aji, somebody wants to say something?
Sir, yes, sir, inside the cylinder, the fuel is completely in a liquid form, is it?
Yes, inside it is in a liquid form. Initially, it's completely filled
Completely
with
in a liquid
liquid
form.
at a very high pressure. But as you
Yes.
open the regulator, liquid starts evaporating and starts flowing out. So inside, there is a equilibrium between liquid and gaseous state that is maintained at constant pressure and temperature. So whenever you try to release the gas, okay, if liquid does not do anything,
Yes.
the pressure of the gas will drop. But what happens is every time liquid gas tries to escape, some liquid gets converted to gas, and therefore pressure of the gas inside is maintained. It never allows pressure to drop down till there is a liquid state. But once all of the liquid is exhausted, then pressure will start dropping down. Okay, is that clear
Yes.
now?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yeah, good. So now you have a phase diagram for a real substance, water. Uh, so here we want to understand this phase diagram. You can see there is a sublimation curve. I told you last time also. Sublimation is known to us only. Common case is iodine, where it directly evaporates from solid state to gaseous state. So this region, the lower region is the vapor state. The left side is the solid region. In between is the liquid region. That's the critical point. If you look at the previous isotherm, that's the critical point. And you go above critical point, there is no liquid state. So that's what you are seeing here on a pressure versus temperature diagram. The previous one was pressure versus temperature diagram. So this is pressure versus temperature diagram. If you increase temperature above critical point, then in that region, there is no liquid state. It is all gaseous state. Okay? Right side of the dotted line is all gaseous state. This is a point which exists at a very low pressure temperature region where all the three states coexist in equilibrium. This temperature for water is almost 0 degrees Celsius. Okay? The difference is only 273.15 and 16. So now, well, this PT diagram is also for water. So if you are, we will try to understand this curve from the example, the problem. So if you use water inside pressure cooker for cooking food, explain how pressure cooker works and what is the advantage of using it. Now, normally, nobody knows actually the advantage of using pressure cooker. People will say it saves time, it's a matter of convenience, but actually, it's an energy saving device. So, I'm going to explain it to you. Unless somebody already has understood and is ready to explain. Right?
So can I?
Who is this? Roshan?
Yes, sir.
Roshan, come on. Very good.
Shall I start?
Yeah, please.
Uh,
So if I have a pressure cooker, hello, can you hear me?
yes, sir.
We have a pressure cooker, we fill it up with water and then we heat it. So you
Yes.
are in the liquid state here, and
Yes.
then you are heating it. Now you have
Yes.
to explain how it works.
Uh, okay. Pressure cooker works by raising the temperature of boiling water, thereby speeding up the time it takes to boil to raise the steam.
नहीं, मुझे पीटी डायग्राम पे एक्सप्लेनेशन चाहिए.
Yes, sir. Uh, okay.
सर मैं करूँ क्या?
Who is it? Shubham?
सालुंके
Salunke? Yes, please try.
सर हम नॉर्मल जो फूड पकाते हैं ना, ढक्कन लगाते हैं, तब अंदर जो पानी होता है ना वो 100 डिग्री सेल्सियस पे बॉईल होता है। पर जब हम प्रेशर कुकर
Correct.
में यूज करते हैं ना, तब उसको बॉइलिंग टेम्परेचर राइज करते हैं। मतलब अंदर जो फूड कुक होता है ना उसको ज्यादा टेम्परेचर पे कुक होता है वो। मतलब नॉर्मल अगर ढक्कन में कुक करोगे तो मैक्सिमम 100 डिग्री सेल्सियस तक कुक होता है, मगर प्रेशर कुकर में वो 140 डिग्री तक कुक होते हैं। अगर हम अपना फेस डायग्राम देखें ना, तो हमारा ट्रिपल पॉइंट मतलब वो उस पॉइंट वो उसमें मतलब तीनों
Uh,
स्टेट
uh,
अवेलेबल
uh,
होते हैं
uh,
ना।
you see where the dot is, the pointer is. That's where you are. Now you have started heating. मतलब ये रूम टेम्परेचर पे हो तुम, और अब तुमने उसको गर्म करना शुरू किया, तो क्या होगा?
यस सर। हाँ, तो उसका जो टेम्परेचर होगा मतलब अंदर पहले वो 100 डिग्री तक जाएगा, तो अंदर का पानी होगा ना वो प्रेशर कुकर को जैसे वो बंद होगा ना, अंदर का बाहर का प्रेशर अंदर नहीं जा रहा, तो जो
बराबर है. देखो
वेपोराइज।
देखो देखो देखो. नहीं 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 नहीं, ऐसे नहीं, शांति से. So when you increase the temperature, your system moves from left to right. Right? पहले हम यहाँ थे, हमारा प्रेशर टेम्परेचर कॉम्बिनेशन ये था, एटमॉस्फेरिक प्रेशर एंड रूम टेम्परेचर.
यस सर।
ओके.
यस
नाउ
सर।
वी आर हीटिंग इट अप. तो जब हम हीट करते हैं तो जब तक प्रेशर बढ़ेगा नहीं तब तक पानी will keep on getting heated and it reaches 100 degree. At 100 degree, it will cross this line. Do you understand? This is a vaporization curve.
यस सर।
So at 100 degrees Celsius, your system has crossed this line and now water has come into vapor phase. But vapor phase में आने से क्या होता है? You are not allowing vapor to escape because there is a cap on the pressure cooker. So steam is not coming out, which is because of which pressure will start increasing. So you came to vapor phase. Okay, now amount of vapor has started increasing. Liquid is still there. So pressure has increased, which means now temperature is 100 degree fix. So if your pressure is increasing, you are going vertically up. Do you understand?
यस सर।
So your
Yes.
see the pointer. Your system has moved by crossing the vaporization curve in upward direction. So first you are here, then you crossed, and now you are heating it up. At 100 degree you heat up, pressure builds up, so it crosses upward. So you are back into the liquid region, which means what at 100 degree had become steam, because of increase in pressure, it is now remaining liquid. Alright. So as uh, किसने बताया था? रोशन ने बताया था ना, A, what is happening is that water which is boiling, Harshdeep ने बताया 100 degree will now boil at 140 degree, let's say. Okay. So now you are at this pressure. If you want to water to boil, which means it should become vapor, then you have to cross. And now you are crossing not at 100. देखो यहाँ थे तो आपने 100 डिग्री पे क्रॉस किया. अब यहाँ पहुंच गए हो तो at a higher temperature you are crossing. So now to boil water further, you have to cross this temperature at much higher degree. Now what happens here is, uh, once the pressure starts increasing, okay, before you actually boil water at 140, the pressure built up is higher to be able to lift the cap. ऊपर जो आप cap लगाते हो ना pressure cooker के ऊपर, you put a cap. This pressure will, because of the inside pressure being higher, cap will get lifted up and the steam will release out. Okay, indicating that it has reached that point where now there is an excess heat energy, excess pressure. So steam will release, pressure will drop down further. Okay, cap will fall back. Again, it will keep on getting heated. Again, the pressure will build up. Again, the cap will get lifted. Again, the steam will release. But in this process, what is happening is the food which you are normally cooking, if you are not in pressure cooker but a normal utensil, at 100 degrees Celsius, because after 100 degree water starts boiling, vapor escapes, so it will keep on boiling at 100 degree, is now getting cooked at higher temperature. So what was cooking at 100 degree now probably will get cooked at 120 degree. Now what is the advantage? If you do not allow that steam to leak out, let's say, but the moment you realize that the pressure has built up inside sufficiently for the cap to get lifted up, then you should put the flame on your stove on a very slow flame. ठीक है, मतलब आपको heating बहुत कम कर देना चाहिए. So because of that, what happens is whatever heat it loses to surrounding, only that much you are supplying. You are not allowing pressure to increase further and lift the cap. So you are definitely saving the fuel. So suppose if you allow steam to release and after first time it releases, you allow it to release 2 or 3 times. In that process, it spends time of 3 or 4 minutes. So during that 4 minutes, you are applying heat energy at a very low rate and the food is getting cooked. Now, what is the advantage? See, water has latent heat of 540 calories per gram. So every gram of water requires 540 calories to evaporate at 100 degrees Celsius. Now, what you have done is you have increased the pressure. So at 100 degrees Celsius, instead of vapor escaping, so if it escapes, you are continuously heating, vapor keeps on escaping, 100 degree maintain. What is happening is you are not allowing that water to escape. And therefore, temperature now will go to 120 degree. Now, specific heat of water is only 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius. So if I want to raise temperature by 20 degrees Celsius, I need to supply only 20 calories for 1 gram. Where I was losing 540 calories, now I am supplying only 20 calories. So that is my savings. But the condition is you should not allow steam to escape. So once the steam starts leaking out and you know that now any moment the cap can get lifted, at that moment you should reduce the flame. That is where you are going to save your energy. So it indeed saves the energy if you can avoid. Normally for convenience, people allow the steam to leak out because it gives you whistling sound and you say, हाँ 4 बार सीटी बज गई, my food is cooked. But if you want to save your fuel and energy, then you should not allow this CT business. The moment it starts leaking out, you should keep it on a very low flame for the same duration of time, which means you will maintain temperature of 120 degree for 5 minutes. Whereas there you are maintaining temperature of 120 for 5 minutes, but you are heating at a very high flame. And then all the steam leaking out actually meant you are losing that much of energy. So that's the advantage of pressure cooker. People don't realize, they just talk about convenience. They don't realize that pressure cooker is designed to save your energy. And none of us are using pressure cooker to save energy. We are only seeing it as a matter of convenience. So I'm going to the next slide where the explanation is given. You can see this. Left is the
Yes.
liquid phase, right is the vapor phase. Initially, we start with water liquid phase as it is heated. Slowly, water gets converted to steam and fraction of substance shifts horizontally crossing vaporization curve. This results in increasing pressure. So on a PT diagram, increase in pressure brings back your substance to liquid phase. This means further vaporization is prevented unless temperature is increased further. So the boiling point increased due to increase in pressure. Now, how is this advantageous? Okay, let's look at the next slide. For normal cooking, I've already told you, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, thereby taking 540 calories per gram of energy when it boils. But if it is raised by increasing pressure, then vaporization is prevented. And suppose your new boiling temperature is 100 degrees Celsius, then we need only 10 calorie per gram. We talked about 20 degrees Celsius and 20 calories per gram before we cross that new boiling point, instead of losing 540 calories per gram. So that is where we not only save our energy, but food also gets cooked better. So normally people allow steam to be released in the form of whistle, which is actually loss of energy. Okay. Correct thing to do is just before the steam is released, stove should be kept on a minimum flame to prevent loss of heat energy. Then food gets cooked better at a higher temperature and also prevents 530 or if you take 120, then 520 calories per gram loss of energy. This means you would be saving cooking fuel. That's the advantage. Pressure cooker. Let's go
Correct.
back to our earlier slide where the second question was raised.
Yeah.
Yes. See the second question. During summer in India, one of the common practice to keep cool is to make ice balls of crushed ice. बर्फ का गोला खाते हैं ना हम. Dip it in a flavored sugar syrup and sip it. For this, a stick is inserted into crushed ice and is squeezed into palm to make it into a ball. Equivalently, in winter, those places where it snows, okay, people make snowballs and just throw around as a game. Explain this formation of the ball out of crushed ice or a snow in the light of PT diagram. Yes, who can explain this? Who would like to try? There are girls who are not speaking at all. Mayuri है क्या नहीं? Hello? The Palgarh wala girl, right? Hello?
Hello.
Mayuri,
Hi, sir.
you are from Palgarh or you are from?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
रेगुलेशन प्रोसेस सर, रेगुलेशन
सर वो सावंतवाड़ी में
सर,
अच्छा.
रेगुलेशन प्रोसेस है सर. आइस क्यूब
What
जो है
is what is
मतलब
regulation process? What is regulation process?
सर हम लोग डायरेक्टली मतलब जैसे
हाँ धवल भाई बोलो. Hello. Did I
Yes,
lose
sir.
everyone?
नहीं सर.
हाँ बोलो. रेगुलेशन प्रोसेस के बारे में बताओ.
सर रेगुलेशन प्रोसेस में सेम होता है ना, मतलब हम लोग का जो मतलब
अरे मुझे रेगुलेशन प्रोसेस किसको बोलते हैं नहीं पता है.
अरे सर मतलब जैसे गोले वाले रहते हैं तो मतलब वो लोग जैसे वो जब हम वो लोग क्रश करते हैं वो स्नो को मतलब सॉरी आइस को, तो डायरेक्टली वो जो प्रोसेस है उसमें जो भी मतलब मतलब आइस का पार्ट है वो हम लोग उसको क्या बोलते हैं, डायरेक्टली आइस से वो कन्वर्ट हो जाता है उसके शेप में, मतलब एग्जैक्ट मेरे को ये नहीं
Sir,
explain
मुझे ये
करना
कुछ समझ में नहीं आता है. There is no physics in what you are talking.
Sir, I
हाँ जी.
think under high pressure, this frozen water will
Here,
melt, and once the pressure is released, again it will start to freeze.
we are here. We are in the solid region. There is ice. अब बताइए क्या हो रहा है.
Okay, in the solid region.
ये मुझे ये पीट डायग्राम के ऊपर समझना है क्या हो रहा है वो.
वो पार्टिकल्स फ्यूज होते हैं ना सर, जब सॉलिड पार्टिकल्स उनकी फ्यूज होने लगती है जब प्रेशर हाई होते जाता है ना.
वही
दिख रहा है.
हमको समझना है ना, फिजिक्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से समझना है. ठीक है. आम
हाँ.
आदमी
यस सर.
आम आदमी सारा फिजिक्स यूज करता है, लेकिन हम वो फिजिक्स से समझने की कोशिश करते हैं कि यहाँ क्या प्रोसेस हो रहा है. समझे. कार चलाते रहो तुम, लेकिन कार कैसे चलती है वो हम सीख रहे हैं. समझ में आया डिफरेंस.
यस सर.
हाँ, वी आर ट्राइंग टू लर्न द फिजिक्स प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ इट. जो होता है वो तो हमें पता है सबको. नाउ आई एम पुटिंग दिस पॉइंट ऑन ए प्रेशर टेम्परेचर डायग्राम. यू आर इन दिस. दिस इज द रेड पॉइंटर. अब क्या कर रहे हो आप? जब
Applying
प्रेशर
pressure.
इंक्रीज करते आ रहा है.
correct. So if you apply pressure, what we are doing? You are increasing the pressure. If you increase the pressure, you are entering the liquid region. You are crossing that fusion curve. आप फ्यूजन कर्व क्रॉस कर दिया तो आपने आइस फ्लेक्स को साथ में लेके दबाया, हाथ से दबाया. You have increased the pressure. When you increase the pressure, the space between the ice flakes, जहां पे दोनों एक दूसरे को प्रेस, this ice flakes press against each other where the pressure increases. Some ice melts. भाई जिनके घर में ज्यादा आवाज हो रहा हो, बातें कर रहे हो, वो अपना माइक म्यूट कर दे प्लीज. So this ice between the ice flakes, some ice melts. So you have entered from solid into liquid region. Okay. And what you do is you press it and release yourself. जैसे ही आपने रिलीज किया, you are here now. The moment you release the pressure, okay, you have entered back into the solid region. So you increase the pressure and then you release the pressure. You are back into the solid region. So the gap between ice flakes, which was an empty space or air, now has water in it. And the moment you release, that water will freeze immediately. So the two ice flakes, which were not connected to each other, because part of the ice melted, okay, and you release the pressure, it frozen again. The moment it froze, the two flakes got connected. Okay. So the whole of ice flakes this way will be bound to each other. So it will not fall down. But of course, all of it is not solidified. There is still a lot of gap in between. So what you do is you put syrup in it. That syrup goes and occupies that empty space in between, replacing the air. You understand the point? Hello?
Yes sir.
Yeah. So you should see the PT diagram and understand. You cannot just talk like a person on the street. बर्फ का गोला वाला बोलेगा, मैं ऐसे दबाया
नहीं
तो
सर,
ऐसा हो गया. ऐसा नहीं.
रेगुलेशन वो प्रोसेस में उसको ही नाम रेगुलेशन दिया हुआ है. हम लोग
अच्छा.
जब प्रेशर का मतलब फिनोमेना में एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर पाया, बट रेगुलेशन प्रोसेस होता है उसमें. मतलब
इंजीनियरिंग नहीं आती है, so I don't know what they call it. Okay.
सर एक डाउट था मेरे को.
Just use. बोलो.
सर बट अब वो ग्राफ में हम लोग ने जो देखा है वहां पे सॉलिड रीजन देखा है और फ्यूजन कर्व लिखा है. इसका मतलब अगर वो सॉलिड है तो वो चीज आइस पे भी काम करना चाहिए, बट शायद आइस पे वो प्रेशर काम नहीं करेगा ना, सपोज जहाँ पे उसका मॉलिक्यूल्स के गैप कम हो जाएंगे, ऐसा कुछ.
So if you are in a solid region and if you heat this solid, it will be go to liquid. आपने टेम्परेचर बढ़ाया तो you are shifting horizontally. your solid will melt, crossing the fusion curve. Or if you reduce the temperature, then you are crossing it leftward and your liquid gets solidified. This case, this is a special case for water. Don't forget, water has anomalous behavior. Water is the only substance which expands when it is cooled. Okay. So,
Yes.
so this curve has a leftward slope, negative slope है ये, which in a normal substance would be a positive slope. मतलब ये line है tilted to the right, ऐसे होनी चाहिए इस direction में. Only for water it is this way. So in case of water, if you are in a solid region and you increase pressure, which means you move vertically, you will enter the liquid region, which means बर्फ के गोले को आपने दबाया तो you have increased the pressure, that ice start melting. And when you release the pressure, you are coming back in this region. So it will again solidify. So there it is pressure which is changing. In case of ice flakes, you are not increasing temperature, you're only increasing pressure and decreasing pressure. But this is a peculiar phenomena for water. If you take any other substance, take sand, मट्टी, मट्टी को आप ऐसे करोगे तो कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. तो प्रेशर बढ़ाने से मेल्ट नहीं होती है. Okay, it remains solid. Most of the substance, when you increase pressure, it gets solidified. Even if it's in liquid state, gets solidified. In case of water, if you increase pressure, ice will melt. That's a special case of water. Anomalous behavior. Again, I repeat, slope of the fusion curve is negative in case of water. In most of the substances, it is positive. Okay, let's go to the next point. We have talked about pressure cooker. And that's what we are talking about, fusion curve. So you crush the ice at 0 degree.
मैंने डाला है
Sorry. क्या?
चैट बॉक्स में डाला है सर उसका रेगुलेशन का.
अब मुझे यहाँ से चैट बॉक्स दिखता नहीं है क्योंकि मेरी पूरी स्क्रीन ऑक्यूपाइड है ये प्रेजेंटेशन से.
ठीक है सर.
ओके, I'll see. मुझे बाद में देखने मिले तो. Otherwise you can send it to me by mail. So we are on the left of the fusion curve, increasing pressure at 0 degree and 1 atmosphere. We are moving our state vertically upward. It takes ice into liquid state, and decreasing the pressure will take your water back into ice state. So when crushed ice is squeezed, some of it melts, filling up the gap between ice flakes, and upon releasing, it will get solidified. So the gap which had air between those ice flakes will now be connecting the ice flakes because the water in between got solidified. All right, so it makes the ball more stable. Okay, so that's as far as the behavior of a real substance is concerned. Now that we talked about behavior of a real substance, if you remember, your gas equation says PV equal to nRT. So if you plot PV equal to nRT, last time we saw that graph, what it looked like. Did it have a horizontal portion? Who else is here? Payal. Payal.
Yes, sir.
Last time we saw pressure versus volume graph, right? PV equal to constant curves. We said it is rectangular hyperbola, etc., etc. Did it have a horizontal portion? It represented only gas. Let me go back. It represented only gaseous state. It did not show any liquefaction process. But the change of state was not represented when you talked about ideal gas. So you were seeing only this kind of curve. Can you see this gas phase? आप सिर्फ इस तरह के कर्व्स देख रहे थे, 1 2 3 ऐसे. You were not seeing this change of state. So when we are talking about ideal gas equation, we are missing the fact that all real substances, all real gases would get liquefied at certain pressure and temperature. And that part was missing when you write your PV equal to RT equation. So What was I saying? What went wrong with our gas equation? What went wrong with our gas equation was that it doesn't take into account that there is going to be a change of phase at particular pressure and temperature. So before I tell you, let's see. Uh, you remember some time back, in the last session, we talked about kinetic theory of gases, where we made certain assumptions about gas molecule. You agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So we had
Yes, sir.
four
Yes, sir.
assumptions. One was about size of the gas molecule. We said they are absolutely point particles. The second assumption was uh,
Molecules collide.
Collide with each other
uh,
and collide with the condenser wall.
they are
Elastic
in
molecule.
random motion, and due to random motion they collide, and when they collide they do not exert any force unless when they collide. Okay, in that state of random motion, these gas molecules do not neither attract each other nor repel each other unless they when they collide. The force is exerted by a gas molecule on the other molecule only when they collide. The third was about the pressure, that the collision with the walls will result into force imparted on the wall and pressure. And that kinetic energy of random motion is what is directly related to temperature. So these were our four assumptions. Now we already know by now that our atoms are not point particles. Although they are very small, they do have finite volume. Do you agree? For example, if you take 1 gram of water, in water state it has volume of 1 cc, 1 cubic centimeter. But in gaseous state, vapor state, it occupies volume of 1600 centimeter cube, right? 1600 times larger volume. So although when you liquefy, you say gas, all molecules are point particle, volume never reaches zero because we know atoms do not have zero volume. So first assumption which we made, that this is the volume occupied, actual volume occupied by gas molecule is negligible in comparison with volume of the containing vessel. That is not correct. And second is the fact that gas is liquefied tells you that there has to be force of attraction between molecules. If there is no force of attraction, it will not be possible to liquefy. Why would they get stuck to each other? They would remain free. Okay, I mean your kinetic energy still exists unless you go to 0 degree Celsius. Sorry, 0 degree Kelvin. Uh, gas molecules will have kinetic energy, and as long as they have energy and there is no attraction between molecules, they will keep on moving randomly. They don't move randomly because there is an attraction, which is because of when they come very close to each other, they disturb the electronic distribution and then induce dipole moment. So they get attracted and they get stuck to each other. So in our assumption of kinetic theory about the size of the gas molecule and our nature of interaction, we were wrong. Therefore, when we said V is the volume of the containing vessel, we will have to call it as V minus V, not V. This V represents the volume which is not available to gas molecule. So container has volume V, but because all the gas molecules do not have negligible volume, any gas molecule would have volume of containing vessel minus the rest of the molecules available for its free movement. So we put some number V minus V. And this pressure, when we say that gas molecules attract each other, it means when it hits, see, if it is in the center of the container, from all direction it experiences equal attraction. But when it reaches close to the wall, the gas molecules will attract it away from the wall, inward. And therefore, the impact, it will not exert as much momentum or the force on the wall. As a result, pressure which is exerted on the wall is slightly less than actual pressure of the gas inside. So what we called as P is a measured pressure, and actual pressure is slightly higher. I'm not going to spend time going into argument, but that pressure has something to do with the molecular density of the gas molecules. So you replace that pressure term by P plus some A by V square term. As a result, what you get is what is called van der Waals gas equation. And what you see on the right hand side are the van der Waals isotherms. Notice here that straight line section is not there in these isotherms. Okay, it doesn't. In fact, even van der Waals gas equation will not tell you that there is a liquefaction. But if you notice carefully this diagram, I have marked some horizontal section. So actual gas will not follow this peak and the dip, but it will at one point come and then start following the horizontal portion. So although this equation fairly well represents, but that horizontal section we know experimentally is the right one. You will not be able to bring it in your equation, but this is how it behaves. And if you look at this pink curve, there is no horizontal section. So that's what happens at critical temperature. And if as you go above critical temperature, you have a only gaseous state. There is no liquid state. So this is our best representation of behavior of a real gas. Of course, there are other possibilities which people have tried in terms of series expression that we are not going to go into at this point. Now, in case of water, the value of this A and B are as written here. So A is 5.537, bar is that unit of pressure, liters square per mole square, and B is in liters per mole. Okay, this is just for sake of completeness. As of now, we are not doing anything. Then, when we talk about in kinetic theory about RMS velocity, okay, that's a root mean square. All the gas molecules need not have the same velocity. If you realize, uh, if you just put a tray filled with water in open, slowly water will evaporate. Although you say, well, there is no temperature is not 100 degrees Celsius, but still it will evaporate because some molecules on the outer surface will receive energy from surrounding and will escape from the liquid. The same situation occurs in case of gas. All the gas molecules do not have same velocity or same energy. Some have higher velocity and some have lower velocity. Of course, there are many which has got some well-defined velocity here. So as your temperature increases, your peak flattens out, and you will have more and more molecules at much higher higher speeds. Okay, some of these statistics we will see in the next slide. Uh, so in this case, this expression, okay, I looks like this slide just got repeated. So the formula given is the probability that molecular speed will be between v and v plus dv. That's known as Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution. That slide is repeated by mistake. Uh, let's see. So you look at one of those curves. There are three kinds of velocities. One is called average velocity. Actually, it's an average speed. If you take velocity, average will go to zero because it moves left, right, both ways. So this is numerical value average. Uh, RMS speed and most probable speed. So most probable speed is the one where you have maximum number of particles having this speed. There is a slight difference between average and RMS value, and the expressions are written here. So the point is, when we say RMS speed, you are talking about this value. There are many molecules which have got higher speeds. There are many molecules which have got very small speed. It is this high value which in some phenomena are responsible for the behavior uh, that otherwise you would not notice. We'll see when it time comes. Now, something you must have done, degrees of freedom. So if you have a gas molecule, it has got certain number of degrees of freedom. So you take, for example, helium gas. It has got 3 degrees of freedom. and therefore its specific heat at constant volume is 3 by 2R. But if you take oxygen, it has got 5 degrees of freedom, and therefore its specific heat at constant volume will be 5 by 2R. And if you take a polyatomic molecule, CH4, here the example, then you have 6 degrees of freedom. Again, I'm not going to go into this detail. Sometime this video will be accessible to you. You can go and read this. Uh, so I'm giving you two simple exercises, which again I will send it to Roshan, and all of you will get a copy of it. And in classical thermodynamics, we also have the issues where we convert mechanical energy into heat. Now, this is a well known example, right? Anything you rub, you drag, okay, even if a car is moving, okay, after it moves by some, say, some distance, few kilometers, you check the tires will be extremely hot. So, this mechanical friction heats up two surfaces. In winter, we rub our hands if it's too cold. Okay, so basically, through friction, we are trying to generate heat energy. So, and then mechanical energy for rubbing is provided by our muscles. Okay, and where it comes from, that we are not going to go into detail. The other issue is, can I convert this same heat energy back into mechanical work? That's an interesting question, because uh, this attempt actually changed the history and geography of our world, okay, of humanity. So, when the heat engine was developed, that was an attempt of converting energy stored in steam in form of heat energy to convert it into doing useful mechanical work. So you are tapping heat energy and doing useful mechanical work. Okay. The problem is, you have gas engines. As we all know, even our cars are actually some kind of gas engines where you are using petrol to generate heat energy, and then that heat energy, your engine will convert it into mechanical motion of your motor of the car and so on. The conversion efficiency is a problem. If you want, all of your mechanical work can be converted into heat energy. 100% of your mechanical energy can be converted to heat energy. But conversion of heat energy to mechanical work is a challenge. Okay, so some years back, we used to have cars which had efficiency of 10 kilometers per liter. It would run 10 kilometers per liter. Now we have cars, at least they advertise it that way, which runs 30 kilometers per liter. Okay, so they have been able to manage two, three different things they have tried. One is they have reduced the weight, and the second is they have been able to modify their engine to make it more efficiently. In whichever way, by minimizing loss of petrol also is one way, or the design of engine is also another way. But it remains a challenge for people how to get more and more efficiency in our engines, which converts our heat energy to uh, useful work. So, how we can convert this? Why we are not able to convert? We have what is known as second law of thermodynamics. So, one statement is by Kelvin and Planck, and which says that it is impossible to construct an engine that operating in a cycle will produce no effect other than extraction of heat from reservoir and performance of an equivalent amount of work. In nutshell, it is impossible to have an engine which will convert 100% of heat energy into mechanical work. The second one, your refrigerators are actually your heat engines working in reverse. I'm just reviewing, so we will not be going into so much of thermodynamics, which you may have studied in school, college. Uh, but refrigerator is a heat engine working in a reverse cycle. So it says it is impossible to construct a refrigerator that operating in a cycle will produce no effect other than the transfer of heat from a lower temperature reservoir to higher temperature reservoir, which means you can't simply extract heat energy uh, and throw it away to a reservoir at higher temperature. So if I have a refrigerator, inside is supposed to be cold, and I am continuously cooling it. So if I am cooling it, I can't simply take that heat energy and throw outside. I have to do some work. That is why we are paying electricity bill for using refrigerator or air conditioners. If we could actually take heat energy from lower temperature and throw it at higher temperature, we won't need to pay electricity bill. But it's not happening. So that is the second law of thermodynamics. With that, and of course, how the engine works, we were made to define a quantity called entropy. The small change in entropy is defined as dq by t. This RNA means it's a reversible process, integration from A to B, so initial state to final state. dq by t, that shows change in entropy. If it is ds, differential, small change, it will be simply dq by t. For an ideal gas, your dq can be written in terms of other quantities, and that's why you have a ds written in an alternative forms. And in thermodynamic change, it is established that change in entropy is always greater than or equal to zero. Zero if the process is 100% reversible. If you can revert the process, you can uh, whatever heat you have had, whatever energy has flown from one side of your system to other side can be taken back. Whatever changes occurred, you can revert it. That's a reversible change. So then delta S can be zero. Otherwise, delta S will always be positive, which means your system always moves from lower entropy to higher entropy. Some places, like your refrigerator, it appears that you are lowering the entropy by doing the work, but you are adding heat energy to the surrounding, which means the system plus surrounding total change in entropy will still be positive. If entropy change is zero, you can reverse the process. If entropy change cannot be zero, you can't reverse the process. If you lower the entropy by doing work, then your work will show up somewhere, increasing entropies elsewhere. So total change in entropy will never be zero or negative. It will always be positive. So if you integrate in for ideal gas, you get these alternative equations for entropy. This you may have been familiar with. Uh, and I have put two exercises for you to read and work out the change in entropy, or take the decision whether flow direction will be from A to B or B to A in the second exercise. Now here are some slides which says that the change in entropy in a of the universe in a natural process. So the first one here you see there is an isothermal dissipation of work through a system into internal energy of the reservoir. There the change in entropy, it's an isothermal process, and internal energy of the reservoir. So work is done by converting internal energy into work. No change in entropy of there is no exchange of heat energy with the surrounding. So dq is zero. No change in entropy of the system. So local surrounding, of course, there is a change W by T of the universe W by T, but it's in the opposite sense. Okay, I'm sorry. It's the other way. System does not change any energy. The local surrounding total change is W by T, and the universe, if you have done the work, then universe change in entropy is W by T. If you have an adiabatic dissipation of work into internal energy, adiabatic means there is no, sorry, the first one was isothermal, second one is adiabatic. So in adiabatic, there is no exchange of energy with the surrounding. Uh, so system's entropy changes, uh, local surrounding no change, total change in entropy of the universe is that much, and so on. So there is a list of this phenomena which you can go through. Uh, Then we will talk about thermodynamic potentials. There is a Gibbs potential, Helmholtz free energy, enthalpy, and internal energy. I thought I would cover more than this, but looks like we'll run out of time. But I will explain to you. So Gibbs potential. Now this is a very nice diagram to remember these equations. So it's easy to remember. It says good physicists have studied under very fine teachers. So G is Gibbs potential, and it depends on the variable, one to the right, one to the left, or below or above. So in this case, it has a variable to the right, P, which is pressure, and variable below it, temperature. We will follow Cartesian sign convention. So whatever is to the right is positive, whatever is to the left is negative, whatever above positive, below negative. Okay, and the conjugate variables are temperature, entropy, and pressure volume. So they will occur in pair. So if you write dg, see pressure is to the right, so vdp term will be positive. So we are talking about dependence on change in pressure. So volume into change in pressure, vdp. That's a positive sign. But temperature is below. Okay, and like a Cartesian system, it has negative meaning. So minus s dt. Your Gibbs potential is dg minus s dt plus vdp. For example, if you take water in equilibrium with its vapor phase, okay, at constant pressure and temperature. So pressure is, we talked about your LPG cylinder also, where liquid was in equilibrium with the water phase, vapor phase. So in that case, your pressure and temperatures are maintained constant. So small changes, dP will still be zero, dt will be zero, Gibbs potential will remain constant. That's a simple example which I've given you. Second is Helmholtz free energy. So that's here F. Okay, now here T is to the left and V is to the right. So both the terms will have negative sign. So minus S dt minus P dV. Enthalpy H. You can see pressure is above, which means upward, positive sign. Entropy to the right, again positive sign. So dH will be TdS plus VdP. Remember, these are the variables which will show you differential changes. So ds and dP, TdS and VdP. And then the next is internal energy, which you already know. Your dq is also TdS. So this is actually your dq. That also is your first law of thermodynamics. If you take du, entropy is above it, positive, whereas volume is to the left, so negative. So TdS minus PdV. So these are your thermodynamic potential. Okay. I can skip this slide. Now you see, because all these differentials, which you call as du, dh, dA, dg, in this case, what I called as F. Unfortunately, there is a printing mistake. It should have been F here. It's written as A. Doesn't matter. You understand this. These have to be exact. If the differential of the type dz equal to m dx plus n dy has to be exact, okay, then derivative of this term with respect to volume has to be equal to derivative of this term with respect to entropy. So dou T by dou V has to be minus, because there's a minus sign here, dou P by dou S at constant volume. This is at constant entropy. Okay. So this gives you your Maxwell's equation. And if you look at the remaining three potential, they will also give you Maxwell's equation in its own way. So here dou T by dou P at constant entropy is equal to dou V by dou S at constant pressure. That's second Maxwell's equation. And likewise, you can see you will be able to generate more Maxwell's equation. The trick is to remember this, this device. If you can remember, you can construct your potentials easily, and you will be able to create your Maxwell's equation also at the same time. Okay, I'm going to stop here at this point. Uh, if you have any questions, please ask. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Uh, what I'm saying is, whatever I was talking is, I'm just reviewing the kind of thermodynamics you may have done in your BSc. If you have any question at this point, you can ask. I suppose there cannot be any question because we have not done any serious work except reviewing. But if you have, I will be happy to answer if I can. Yes. Any of you have any question?
सर सर प्रेशर कुकर का डाउट था, पूछ सकता हूँ?
पूछो.
सर आपने जैसे बोला कि वो विसिल हाई प्रेशर पे वो विसिल होता है, तो एनर्जी डिसिपेट होता, राइट? तो
मतलब आपकी
एट सम
स्टीम
कंडीशंस,
आपकी स्टीम बाहर निकल गई ना, तो water
एग्जैक्टली,
to steam conversion took 540 calories and you release that steam away. वो स्टीम ऐसे ही उड़ती ना, जो पहले भी होता था। 100 डिग्री पे पानी बॉईल होता था तो आपकी स्टीम चली जाती थी ना। तो
चल जाती,
प्रेशर कुकर
एग्जैक्टली।
ट्राई टू मेंटेन दैट 540 कैलोरी इनसाइड, बाहर एस्केप नहीं होने दे रहा था। लेकिन अगर विसल ब्लो हुई तो दैट एनर्जी हैज एस्केप। ओके, आप क्या पूछ रहे थे, बोलो इसके बारे में।
हाँ, तो कभी कभी कुछ कंडीशन में बहुत सारे जगह पे ऐसा प्रेशर कुकर फटता है, तो वो क्यों होता है? मतलब
वो फटता इसलिए है कि पहले तो कैप लिफ्ट है। कैप इज सेफ्टी मैकेनिज्म। अगर प्रेशर बढ़ गया तो कैप गेट्स लिफ्टेड एंड स्टीम गेट्स रिलीज।
ओके,
सेकंड इज there is a safety valve pressure cooker. So if cap
हाँ,
doesn't get lifted up and if the pressure builds up little more, the safety valve has a small membrane of metal like a foil, थोड़ा thick होता है। So that membrane gets ruptured at high pressure. So it will release the steam.
प्रेशर,
And it will be safe in that case. So safety valve is a what we say plan B for release steam. If your plan A doesn't work, if your cap doesn't get lifted, okay, then your safety valve will break and then it will release the steam. अगर दोनों नहीं हुआ and if the pressure inside builds up, then the body of your pressure cooker, which is of course very strong actually, it's a thick metal, but pressure becomes so high that even that thick metal is not able to manage. Okay, so I don't know if you have seen the burst head one. Once it happened at somebody's residence, which I know, and I was wondering what kind of thing happened actually. It's just that the shape got distorted so that lead could blow up. जो ऊपर का जो ढक्कन होता है ना, हाँ, वो एक लॉक्ड विद द वेसल, कुकर के वेसल से लॉक हो जाता है ना, आप उसको घुमा के लॉक कर देते हो।
कर देता, हाँ।
हाँ, तो वो लॉक में से निकलना चाहिए। तो वो मेटल पूरी फटती नहीं है, वो डिस्टॉर्ट होती है तो वो ढक्कन उड़ता है। और बिकॉज प्रेशर इनसाइड इज हाई, तो अंदर पानी, स्टीम, खाना, खाने के डब्बे सब उड़ते हैं उसके।
एग्जैक्टली, एग्जैक्टली।
हाँ, so the actual cooker body doesn't burst out, but this still could be dangerous. Anything which flies can hit you. So what I saw, actually pressure cooker didn't burst out, but it just got distorted. Of course, the food inside blew up. अंदर के जो छोटे बर्तन थे, they flew up. But mostly they fly upward only. The lead, ऊपर का जो lead है, ढक्कन है, that also flies up. But if it flies in a different direction, you can be hurt. So it can be dangerous. Yes. Any other question?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Then can we stop here?
Yes, sir.
मेरे लिए भी this is a new experience. I don't know classroom. I can interact with you much easily, comfortably. Here I don't see you. I'm talking to something where I can only hear their voice. So I can't even ask you to write down something or calculate. But I will start doing that in the next classes, and therefore I would expect. See what happens in class. I can see who is responding, who is not responding. Here I can't check with all 11 people. If I start asking each of you, all the 11 students, we would not have much time to do our syllabus. And therefore, I would like you to be very alert, attentive, and respond immediately. If I ask you to do some calculation, you should do and verify those calculations. Okay?
Yes, sir.
You will have to change your strategy also slightly and be more positive in this direction. Right? We are facing a tough time due to this crisis. So one-to-one interaction where I can see what you are doing and I can help you, that won't be possible. So you will have to be more active in communicating what you are doing. Otherwise, I would assume कि आपको सब समझ में आया और सब ठीक चल रहा है, and then you would be at a loss. So please remember this and keep communicating in the middle of the lecture if you have difficulty.
सर
जी
एक डाउट था फर्स्ट एक्सरसाइज में।
हाँ जी, बताइए।
सर स्टीफन्स लॉ है ना, उसमें जो क्वेश्चन दिया ना आपने न्यूक्लियर बॉम्ब का,
हाँ
उसमें जो बी पार्ट है ना, मास कन्वर्ट करना इक्विवेलेंट
हाँ
टोटल नंबर ऑफ पीपल,
हाँ।
वो समझे नहीं क्वेश्चन।
अरे वो अप्रोक्सीमेट है कि यू वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड द डिवास्टेटिंग इफेक्ट। तो वी सेड कि चलो इतनी एनर्जी रेडिएट हो रही है, अभी इतने डिस्टेंस पे इतने लोग वहां है, so each person has some kind of weight and most of it is water, right? Our body is 70% water. So you can see what are the figures. I don't remember the actual data, but if all of that is water, uh, uh, water will evaporate with this kind of temperature and energy. Okay. तो हाउ मच कुड बी द डिवास्टेशन, मतलब वो कितना मास और कितने पानी को इवेपोरेट कर सकता है, इतनी एनर्जी जो जनरेट हुई न्यूक्लियर बॉम्ब में। यू अंडरस्टैंड?
यस सर।
The nuclear bomb releases so much of energy every second. So within a distance of this much, how much mass of water it is capable of evaporating. It will tell you, give you an idea how much population will be destroyed. Okay, this is simply evaporation process. मतलब जो लोग जल जाते हैं उसकी बात कर रहा हूँ. Okay, those who are little further away, who are affected not by evaporation और जल नहीं गए लेकिन their body gets damaged. Radiation will have its own effect because nuclear reactions will send alpha, beta, gamma, all kinds of radiations. Okay, those reactions happening, those particles passing through your body will have further damaging effect on you. So those who survived also had a difficulty after that nuclear explosion. In fact, some of the children who were born after this were damaged. Their bodies were damaged before they were born, so they came out crippled. Okay? So uh, it's just a rough estimate of to get an idea of what kind of damage it can cause with a small nuclear bomb. ठीक है?
यस सर।
हाँ, आपको एक एस्टिमेशन मिल जाए कि भाई हम कहते हैं कि न्यूक्लियर बॉम्ब डालने से ऐसा होता है। Normal person on street can talk like that, but as a physicist you should know the actual calculation, or at least you should have an estimate of how much damage would be. Yes, कैलकुलेशन तो कर पाएंगे, मुझे लगता है कि वो तो ज्यादा कुछ डिफिकल्ट नहीं है। तो यू सी फ्रॉम दिस पर्सपेक्टिव कि वो एक मास का एस्टिमेट है, एक वाटर अमाउंट लेते हैं, कितने लोग होंगे तो कितना मास होगा, कितना वाटर होगा, कितना डैमेज हो सकता है। दैट इज द एस्टिमेशन वी आर ट्राइंग टू। ओके, so can we stop here? So little more review of your BSc syllabus is there. After that, we will switch to your statistical part. So, and that should happen on Monday. So, see you on Monday.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Bye bye.